Not necessarily every job interview will have all these questions, but you have to come up with answers for these cliche questions that the answers themselves are not cliche, but your answer's not so weird that you weird out the other person. It's paradoxical that they ask cliche questions and they're expecting genuine answers. But in a sense, the best tactic is to give them a sort of genuine answer, at least one that is not cliche necessarily. Because remember, key thing, employers, they want somebody that's very consistent. They like a little bit of personality. They like you smiling. They like you being friendly, that sort of stuff, being eloquent. They don't like it when you're too eccentric. They don't like that stuff. For these cliche questions, you have to start developing your answers. And once you develop the answers for this, now it's a matter of perfecting your delivery. I just got to practice the way I say it. I got to say it with a smile. I got to be charming while I say it. So first question, what's your greatest weakness? Let's start with my greatest weakness is that I'm too blunt. This is not bad, but precisely because you're too blunt, you are phrasing it in a way that may be off-putting. People don't want to work with people that are too blunt. I have sort of the same problem as well. You want to rephrase it in a way that sounds, again, not cliche, genuine, scoring points. And the way you score the point is by making it seem non-threatening. It's like you're just a sensitive guy that has some introspection, but your weakness, your problems are not going to cause the company a problem. You're not going to raise problems working with others. And the way to say you're too blunt, non-threatening way is just to say something like, I like talking and I like getting my point across. And sometimes when I'm trying to get my point across, it sometimes seems like I don't care what others think, but that's really not the case. I'm interested in the opinions of others. I care about others, but I just have this thing where it's like the train of thought leaves the station, it has to arrive at the other station. So sometimes I've been told I come off as too direct, but that's not my intention at all. I'm actually very agreeable. This answer that I came up with, this script, it's all true. The next answer was that not being assertive. And this again is good, but if you just say like, oh, I'm not assertive, you come off as weak. It's funny because employers do want you to not be assertive. Employers don't care about you being assertive, but they have convinced themselves that they want assertive employees. They want assertive workers. It's not true. They just basically need a slave. They just basically need somebody that will do whatever is asked of them without raising a ruckus, but they don't want you saying that. They don't want you saying like, oh, I'm too submissive and I'm too good at following directions. So if you say like, oh, I'm not assertive, it's not bad, but I would phrase it another way. I would say something like, I believe things should be done a particular way, but maybe the team doesn't agree so much with that particular take. And I'm very agreeable. I'm very open with people. So because I'm agreeable, sometimes I don't pursue this beliefs that I have regarding a direction that we should take. That way you hit it out of the park because you're signaling exactly what they want. They want somebody that will just sit quiet, play ball with others, be agreeable. So don't say, I'm not assertive, say, I'm agreeable. Next, at times trying to be too much of a perfectionist. This saying that you're too much of a perfectionist, when you're an employee, what it signals is basically say like, oh, I work too hard. It's not exactly like that, but it comes off as that. If you are like that, then you gave an honest answer, but you can say something like, sometimes I tend to look for solutions when the situation doesn't necessarily recall my involvement. It's still kind of close to what we're talking about, but it doesn't sound self-serving. It doesn't sound like, oh, I work too much. You can even add something like, I try to find individual solutions when raising my hand and bringing it up with the team is a faster way. You definitely don't want to say anything or phrase anything as if you're lacking something. You always want to phrase it as if you have something. The go-to example, I am agreeable. It's not that I lack assertiveness, it's that I am agreeable. You don't want to talk about what you lack. You want to talk about what you have and you being aware of the consequences for this. So therefore you're striving to minimize the negative consequences. This is the framework for answering this particular question.
Hey, Rolf here. If you found the content of this video useful, please like, share, and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow and get the word out to more people about job stacking. Thanks.
Next question is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? This used to be a very popular question. Now it's not as much. And the reason is because nobody lasts 5 years anyway. This is why you guys are here in the job stacking program. You've somehow been victim of this tendency of employers just like, they see you as a number, they don't invest in you. So they don't really care anymore about where you'll be in 5 years. Growing with a team and learning from my manager, then eventually getting to manage the team after learning about leadership from my manager. You always want to be moving forward. You don't want to say like, oh, I just see myself doing the same thing. You always want to be like, in 5 years, I see myself as a leader. It's kind of like past lives. Everybody is a duke, feudal lord, a prince, a princess. Everybody in the future is a leader, is a manager, leading dynamic teams. So that's the answer. Why do you want to work here? You got to talk about aligns with your values. You can also complement them If they're offering a fully remote position right off the bat, you can talk about like, oh, in this current climate where every company is like scrambling back to go back to the office, it's refreshing to see an employer that has the maturity to trust enough in its employees to offer fully remote. Why don't just go with the cliche answers? Because you'd want to take the opportunity to make them feel good about the fact that they're offering remote work. You want to send the signal as you can to the market, in whatever small amounts of influence that you may have, you can send signals. Right? If you give them a compliment for having remote opportunities, that kind of reinforces the fact that they feel like it's the correct choice. And how about mentioning the company has a top reputation in the industry? If they do, then that's great. If they don't, you're gonna look like a fool. Companies kind of know their own reputation. They're not that stupid. So if they are like a top employer or they have any kind of like award, they don't have any of that, then don't bring it up because it's just gonna be weird. So what are you talking about? Why should we hire you? Or conversely, what do you bring to the table? This is a trick question. I'm gonna explain what the trick is. Remember how earlier with all the other questions I told you, you have to phrase things in a way that seem like they benefit the employer, or phrase it in a way where it's at least non-threatening to the company. This is like the one question where you want to make it about yourself. What makes you unique? And so you don't want to say, I bring value to the company. What value do you bring to the company? You want to make it about your unique experiences. When you hire me as an individual, you're getting a unique combination of expertise in the field. And this is where I can't give you like a ready-made answer because it has to be unique to you. You have to come up with some sort of pitch that you propose to them of why they should hire you. And it shouldn't be about all the generic value that you're going to bring to the company, or like how much of a hard worker you are, like how much you're aligned with the company's vision. So for instance, I was recently interviewed by a Christian company, very Catholic. I was able to genuinely respond to this saying like, in a secular world where every company doesn't have a greater purpose, it's just about money, I'm eager to use all my expertise to help an actual Christian company succeed. So something like that where you do close with something that you're providing the company in a sense, but this is the one question where you don't make it necessarily about them unless it's something so genuine that it's okay to say. It's okay to be cringe and cliche when it's genuine. When it's genuine for both parties, it's not cringe. So the problem with most of these questions is that the company is not genuine. They don't care. They don't care about you. They don't even care about what they do. It's just money. That's why I'm always telling you, every question here, you have to come up with your answer. I can only give you the framework of the do's and don'ts. And this is the main question to do that. This is the one where you make it less about them, more about you. The others is the opposite. It's very paradoxical. The questions that are about them, we make it about ourselves. And the question that is about you, the one that where you're supposed to sell yourself, then it's like, oh, I love your company.
All right, that's gonna do it for today's video. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.